बहुत बड़ा चार बड़े बड़े बेडरूम, ड्राइंग रूम, साउथ ओपन। वहाँ ड्राइंग रूम खूब सजावटी,
Hello and welcome to Trendmill. I'm Anuradha Sengupta. Now, depending on where you're coming from, Aishwarya Rai is either one of the world's most beautiful people or India's most hyped celebrity. Now, I happen to think that she's a hard-nosed working woman who's working at securing her place in the bloody arena of showbiz. Even as we speculate whether or not she will be India's first global film star, she was in the country promoting her latest release, Raincoat. Now, this is Bengali filmmaker Rituparna Ghosh and Kolkata-based producer Sri Venkatesh Films. With Raincoat, the team that got us Chokher Bali is taking its next ambitious step. 150 prints of the 5 crore rupee Hindi film will release across India and in the USA, the UK and Canada. It promises to be typical Rituparna Ghosh fare. That means production values of international standards and rooted human drama that bridges the cultural divide. With its star film cast and a theme that's bound to appeal to the middle-class intelligentsia, Raincoat may be the perfect multiplex film. Aishwarya, Raincoat is your second film with both Sri Venkatesh Films and Rituparna Ghosh. Is there anything besides the role that makes you want to work with this team again?
Chokher Bali was a very, very special and important film in my life. I obviously cherish the experience and just everything connected to that film, with the way it was made, with
that Rituparna Ghosh makes films which are very, very sensitive to women. Everyone talks about it. He's told us that there are two things that attracts him about women. One is this strength and immense vulnerability. And on the other hand, themes of loneliness and bonding. Again, you know, very, very
human relationships.
No, but do you feel that someone like him has interpreted women perhaps more kindly, more truthfully than maybe other people? I wouldn't
want to draw comparisons, but I'd say he's definitely been very, very sensitive. That's the right and apt word. As a director, as an individual, as a human being, to convey these emotions as real as he cinematically can, and as in as voluble a manner as cinema can allow you to. So I think it's wonderful that he's used the medium to truly express emotional, the emotional arc of his various
as a woman,
protagonists.
are you as a woman, when you're doing a role like you did in Chokher Bali, or now or what you've just done in Raincoat, is there a feeling that this person understands me, the woman Aishwarya, not the person Aishwarya? Is there really a difference? Because, you know, for women
That
like that,
in interpersonal relationships,
feminism.
in our personal relationship, definitely he's very sensitive to me. He does understand me without me, and sometimes it's funny. It's like when when we're in our emotional space, I'm like, Ritu, stop watching me, because he's like, oh yeah, because one day when we were talking and something emotional happened, and I just teared up as we were talking about something, and he looked at me. This was during the making of Raincoat. And the next day we were going to do an emotional part of the film, and I just knew he was watching me during that time. It just occurred to me later. I said, I know he has watched me,
And he's going to use this.
and the next day when we were doing the scene, we did it and acted it and all. Then he just said, I love the way you cried yesterday. And I'm like, Ritu, you were not supposed to be watching me at that point. And he's like, I couldn't help it.
Exactly at that.
I know, he says it's very difficult, even though you know you shouldn't be doing that, because he was connecting at that point in time. It just naturally happened to him, and we kind of laughed about it later. But do you
think it's important for women to get filmmakers like this, both as an actor and for women like me who is the audience?
Definitely.
Makes a difference.
Definitely, because that is definitely the reaction that I have received for all those who have had the opportunity to watch Chukai Bali. And
who cannot be and who then catch up. I know I'm putting it very simplistically for you. When you were shooting the film must have been much more complex than that, and I'm sure we get to see it. But from what we're getting to hear, that's what it is. Sounds a bit like Gulzar's Ijazat, a bit like Richard Linklater's Before Sunset. Have you seen that film? And when you're watching those films,
you always
within
wish
you
you
there
had
is
the
a bit of
opportunity to do these kind of movies as well.
no, and when you're watching it, there's a bit of, will they get together in the end? You know, there's that big, there's that little, I don't know whether it's because you're a woman you think like that, or that's what everybody who sees a film like that thinks of. In Raincoat, do you think this curiosity is an important fact?
It's a very integral fact, I think, connected to the viewer watching this movie, also because of
Is it important
the very narrative. It is important and very integral to the very narrative of this film. Everybody knew that this was made in an extremely short span of time and the fastest film of our careers and all of that. And I said, yeah, true. It was made within, say, my work was done in 10 days and the movie on the whole in 2 weeks. It was done in 2 weeks' time. So definitely the fastest. But having said that, I'd say it needed to be made. It's the kind of movie that needed to be made in that span of time. We were all there, completely committed, completely into the movie. Also because it has a kind of theatre element. This was like theatre on celluloid. We are limited. Our characters are limited by space in every sense of the term. Be it the space of as actors, the space of that house, the physical space of the room. Be it the space of time, where as characters we have encountered each other on this one rainy afternoon. So in that space of time is where we go through our emotional arcs, the gamut of emotions together in that time and what we have lived out together in the past.
As a viewer, and what do you think will drive me? The conversation and what it is telling me about the two characters here? Or is it the will they, won't they get together finally, since they're getting a chance once more?
You've actually hit it. It's both. It is the will they, won't they, but that will be driven by you actually listening to the two characters. You have to listen
and
to what they have
enjoying
to
to
say.
get to know them as people.
Yes.
And what was interesting for me is that he's doing his first film in Hindi, and in a film where language and nuances of language is so perhaps the bedrock of the film.
Right.
Any interesting stories on that where Rituparna is concerned?
Well, what was it was nice that we had the team that we had working on this film. Having an actor like Ajay was definitely a plus for his sheer understanding of.
But was Rituparna stressing about directing in Hindi?
No, not really. He'd bring it up. I mean, what's really wonderful about him is, like I think all people who are good at the jobs have and are not shameful of ever expressing doubts. Or we all are. I mean, I think as actors also, every day you wonder whether did you do it right today. And it's really nice that a director who's always regarded as, and by all of us definitely as the captain of the ship and the master of the set and the mother of the movie and all of that. At the same time,
Mother of the movie, that's nice.
he definitely keeps the familial bond going, where there will definitely be interactions. There'll be, he too would ask if he thought, he'd ask our opinions on everything, whether it is rendered right, whether the scene is conveying what he wants to convey enough. And that's why I come back to having the kind of team that we did, and having someone like Ajay and me from the Hindi film backdrop, and someone like Ajay with his experience, with his command of the language and his understanding of cinema. I mean, I've had a wonderful time working with Ajay on Hum Dil, and ever since then we were looking for a similar such cinematic acting experience.
So language
together.
is not going to be a bar for Rituparna Ghosh at all.
No, definitely not. I don't think so whatsoever. And he knows the language of the heart
and the heart
so
true.
well. So.
What was interesting was we met Mahendra Soni in February, and I found it really interesting what Sri Venkatesh Films started doing and where it is today. Trying out a different business model, roping in someone like you, getting in a director like Rituparna, looking at cinema beyond what a lot of people are just looking at.